Is there a scientific way with data to show which exercises are the best for each body part? Proponents of EMG studies, this is electromyography, which actually shows muscle activation quite accurately, would say, yes, we know which exercises are best. Today, we're going to list the best exercises for each body part based on these studies, and we're either going to agree or disagree based on our experience.
Ooh.
Let's get into it.
Yeah. I like this.
Yeah.
I like this thing.
Let's decide.
First, set the table for because I think this is actually this is an interesting topic to me.
It is. It's a bit controversial.
It is because there's a lot of people, especially on the science side, smart, educated people that want to make the case for this being the end-all, be-all when it comes to what exercises are superior. They're based off of the research that we've seen, based off of EMG.
How much activity they can see.
And I think most people hearing from these people that are supporting this because they're typically very intelligent, they're using a study to support their argument, people just fall right for the bias. The problem is this doesn't tell the full story.
That's right.
And I think that's the area where hopefully we can step in and share a little more of the nuance, and then maybe with that paired with some of these studies, because I'm not saying that they're worthless. I think it tells us something, but I don't think it nearly tells the full story.
Agreed. So these studies measure muscle activation. You can explain this, let's say, as a percentage of maximum voluntary contraction, how many muscle fibers are being activated. So it's definitely valuable. The problem is that doesn't necessarily mean the most muscle growth, which we'll get to. And this also doesn't take into consideration individual variances, how you perform the exercise, if it's appropriate for you, what your technique looks like, and so forth. And we've trained people for many, many years. And when you talk to coaches and trainers who've done this, sometimes you get a different answer because of their experience. So I'm going to go off of, and we're going to talk about what the studies show, what the EMG studies show to be the absolute best. And as we talk about them, I'll read what the studies actually show in comparison to certain popular exercises, for example. And then I think we can throw in kind of, our opinion on it. So we'll start with chest. Right. Now, chest, the EMG studies show that the dumbbell chest press has the best activation, that it activates the most muscle fibers. In fact, I'll pull up the study here. I'll pull up the study itself, and it shows that you have 100% of pectoralis major activation versus, because what exercises typically
barbell
is the barbell bench press. Barbell bench press gets 95%. So 5% better on the EMG study for chest activation than the barbell. Yet, you oftentimes hear coaches
limited on load
refer to the bench press. Yeah, so let's talk about that a little bit, Justin.
Yeah, let's talk about that because as we know, having two dumbbells, we're limited based upon. So let's say even have 100 on each side. When I could have a barbell, I could stack a substantial more amount of weight and be more effective. The thing is, this is going to turn into more of a compound lift. And so I'm going to have a little bit more muscle activation throughout my body as opposed to just an isolated muscle group that I'm testing.
Yeah. Metabolic stress and mechanical tension or load also drive muscle growth. So can you lift more total weight with a barbell than you can with dumbbells? Yeah. 100%. I don't know very many guys who could bench press 315 who can also handle 155-pound dumbbells. That's pretty rare. It's pretty rare that it's equal. It typically looks like I can bench press this much, and then it's substantially lower total load when I handle dumbbells because you have to balance them. There's stability, more stability is involved.
You have to be able to pick them up and carry them.
Put them in position.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a great point, Adam. Practicality. That's real life, right?
Most of the time that you see guys that can do, I got to a place where I was mirroring it. That was a very specific goal for me. I went on a kick for, it was at least a year, maybe even longer, where I was like, can I get my, dumbbells to match my bench press? There's obviously a lot of focus on that. And even when I did get to that, where I was able to do 150 dumbbells, it took it took a guy or two setting him up on my knees and spotting behind me. And you know, it was like such the effort just to try and match 315. And that's not even my max bench press, but just to get to where I was able to work out with those weights and what I could easily do on the barbell by myself. Was a lot of effort to even be able to do that. And a lot of focus.
There's a lot of expended energy just on stabilizing that weight, which you're going to have to account for that. Whereas with a barbell, you can distribute that like pretty effectively. I'm curious as far as like, you know, how they could test more in terms of an overall force output versus just muscle activation recruitment.
Now, I do want to. I also, because I hear this is when I look at your list. I peeked ahead, right? I'm seeing what the ones. There's ones on here that I think I would argue, and then there's ones like this. Like, sure, I think.
Yeah, you're not going to go wrong if you do a dumbbell chest press.
That's my point.
No, it's good. It's a good exercise.
Like, and you could actually never do a barbell bench press, and I will build you the most epic chest ever doing that, because it is a great. I also like that it's a greater range of motion, and that it actually follows a much more natural path for the individual versus a fixed pathway.
That's right, because
on
your hands can come together at the top.
That's right. And so I'm a big fan of a dumbbell bench press. I think if all you do is barbell bench press, you are missing out by not dumbbell pressing. So
I agree, but I will go back to what you said, Adam, because we have to look at real life. And handling heavy dumbbells, just getting them off the rack, bringing them to the floor, bringing them up on knees, the technique to bring them back is not easy. No. It's actually not easy. As you start to get real strong, that expends energy. That makes it unwieldy. In fact, oftentimes I avoid the dumbbell chest press, not because the barbell's so much better, but because of that. I got to go grab the 120s.
For personal, right? For
that's
personal,
right.
Yeah. That being said, I bet you guys are similar to me. I taught dumbbell chest press with clients more than I did barbell bench press.
Yeah.
Most clients.
It was easy for me to hand it
range
to
of
them.
Motion stability was way more important.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. So that would, and you know, the way I could guide them and help them.
That's right.
I just,
it's easy to bail.
I would say a dumbbell chest press was more of a staple in my programming than even a barbell bench press. But if I were to look at my own training, barbell bench press, for the reasons that you just brought up, is a go-to. So, but of all the ones on here, this is not the one I would die on the hill of, arguing.
And even based on EMG, you're talking about 5% difference. Like that's not probably. Yeah, if you count load, is it going to make a difference?
It's not substantial.
Probably not. All right. Next, we get to back. Wide grip pull-ups showed some of the best.
I would die on this
activation.
Hill. This is the hill I would die on.
Yeah. For the lats. Well, let me get to it, right? So 90 to 95% activation for the lats and high activation for traps and rhomboids, 70 to 80%. Here's the deal. Wide grip pull-ups require a certain amount of stability, mobility, and strength that most people don't have. Yeah. And so ask me how many of my clients I had them do wide grip pull-ups. Rare.
Yeah.
If they did pull-ups, it was typically a neutral grip, shoulder width.
Or it's assisted somehow.
That's right. And it also doesn't address what most people need, which is to be able to strengthen that back shoulder position, which most people have an issue with because we work at desks all day long and our shoulders are forward. And personally speaking, I love pull-ups a lot. This makes its rotation in my workout quite often.
Yeah.
Is it number one? Probably two
it's
or
a great
three.
Functional exercise.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, a row or actually a deadlift is going to go and replace here for me.
Yeah.
I mean, just the barbell row is far more, I think, overall functional. I think that I can load it eventually a lot more than I could the wide grip. It doesn't require the same type of mobility, stability, and even just basic strength, because a lot of people can't even pull themselves up one time on that.
Not a bad exercise.
No,
I love it.
And okay, if you're listening to this and you don't do that ever, what a great goal to say, hey, I'm gonna get strong at the wide grip pull up, and I bet if you've never focused on that, you'll see some incredible change.
Stronger overall.
And I bet great development from that.
Yeah.
I think so. I do think,
but most people would benefit from getting really good at rows versus a wide grip pull up. Although both are very, very, very beneficial.
Yeah.
So next is deltoids, dumbbell shoulder press. So dumbbell shoulder press, 85, 90% activation from both the anterior and medial head of the deltoid. That's the front and the side of the delts.
Not surprising based off of what was shown for the chest.
Yeah.
For the same similar reasons.
Yep. And it's got better activation than a barbell. It's got a greater range of motion. I would argue it's better for overall shoulder health. You could do this. I think you could totally do this and you'd be okay. But like you said, Adam, same challenges that you would run into with a barbell versus a dumbbell, and just the overall load you could do with a barbell, you will never be able to match.
No.
Example of, if I look back to all my clientele, I dumbbell shoulder pressed way more than I barbell shoulder press. You know, I had a handful of clients that load was really important, and we needed to have over 200 pounds on the bar in order for them to keep growing. Most of my clients never grew out of dumbbell pressing, and also easier for me to spot, support, coach.
Most clients deal with upper cross syndrome. Most clients have those protracted shoulders, don't have good shoulder mobility. So putting anything overhead already, we have like this risk factor, even bracing with the lower back. There's a lot of things there that you can kind of work through a lot more effectively with dumbbells. So I would tend to use those a bit more, but then work towards the barbell press.
Any added benefit you guys think too, because the shoulder is a floating joint, and so to do a movement that requires more stability, would you?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think if you got really good at dumbbell full range of motion, dumbbell shoulder press versus barbell shoulder press, you're probably gonna have better function in the shoulder joint with the dumbbell than you will with barbell. But a full range of motion barbell shoulder press is awesome too.
Oh yeah.
It's just the dumbbell. I mean, I can bring it way down here. I can come out to the side.
That spiral line, that diagonal sort of movement there, which is healthy and beneficial.
That's right. So this one I could get with for sure. Quads, barbell back squat, 74% activation for the quads, with about 43% for glutes.
This is what they rated number one.
hamstrings.
I actually thought it was. I thought they rated hack squats as number one.
No, barbell back squat seems to have the best.
Not even front squats.
Yeah, best, and it's close. It's pretty close. This I agree with. 100%.
Yeah.
Like
No.
it's the best exercise. I mean, leg press is a limited range of motion. Back squat does so much for the whole body.
Yeah.
It's a fundamental, human movement to be able to do. No arguments for me on this. And then when it comes
Surprised they
to,
didn't say leg extension or something.
I know it's so funny when they show those EMG studies. Leg extension, like, why waste your time?
Yeah, why waste your time?
Nobody's ever built big quads from doing, nice quads from doing leg extension.
Yeah, I actually thought they had hack squats as one, leg extension as two, and I thought back squats was like three. For
No,
EMG.
and this is based off of analyzing all the data. I actually used AI to go through all the EMG studies.
Interesting. Okay.
So you might find one or two that show a little bit better.
Okay.
By the way, here's a funny thing, okay? Again, we're going to go back to individual variance. If I have, now this isn't common, but let's say I have a client, or you're the kind of person that is like hip extension or glute dominant. So your squat, you have this interesting looking squat where you don't get much knee flexion and extension. Like you really sit back with it. And you'll sometimes see this with a low bar squat. Powerlifters will do this.
Lane squats like this.
Yeah, to generate the most amount of power and strength. I could see them getting more quad activation from a hack squat or even a leg extension because the way that they do the squat relies so much on the hips versus more than the quads.
I mean, you what you're touching on right now, I love this conversation because even with all the great studies around the EMG, even with us agreeing and some of this like that, there still becomes an exception to the rule, and a good coach and trainer recognizes that and sees that. Okay, I have somebody who has a low bar squat where they slide back into their hips and a lot of the glutes and posterior chain is involved. And hey, right now we're trying to focus on quads. Like, yeah, front squat, hack squat, other movements become better, even though the studies and the research might point to the back squat in that situation. Well, that's generally speaking, and in that study. But I bet they didn't take 100 and all 100 people squatted like Lane Norton does. And if they did, it would look different.
That's right.
And so you have to always be able to consider that too.
That's right. Next up, hamstrings, Nordic curls. Now, I agree that you probably are going to get the most.
Those are brutal.
Good luck getting anyone to do these.
But I don't know very many people that can do this without hurting themselves.
I only had a couple clients.
Not a lot.
This is a very high tension exercise requiring very strong hamstrings with lots of stability. By the way, the Nordic curl outperforms a leg curl on a machine precisely because you also have to stabilize your upper body as you go down. So you get a little bit of that extension that the hamstrings and the stabilization that the hamstrings provide.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you line this up with other hamstrings, I would guess it's going to be the Nordic curl.
Yeah.
But good luck finding someone who could do this.
Yeah, this wouldn't be mine, right? So
not as realistic.
this would be a stiff-legged deadlift right here for me.
Yeah,
If
because I could do that with anybody.
That's right.
Yeah.
Very easy, basic movement for a lot of people, but so valuable. In fact, I right now I can only literally think of 2 clients I was able to do Nordic curls with my entire career.
Yeah.
I don't even know
I'd
if I
probably even do good mornings before I do these.
Yeah, and I don't even know if I could do these right now if I tried them. I haven't done them in so
Not
long.
without assistance. I'd have to
Yeah.
do
Oh,
yeah,
assistance
no,
with a pole.
Yeah, it's just not.
There's ways that, by the way, the point where I
Yeah.
could
You could use straps.
Yeah,
and a
there's
pole.
there's a lot of ways to regress this movement. But again, why? When I can go right to another movement that I think is so important. I think learning how to do a proper stiff-legged deadlift is such an important.
There's also the functional component. You're far more likely to lift something off the ground than you are to do a Nordic curl in real life. So in exercise, by the way,
Yeah.
strength, this is very important for people to understand. Strength is as much of a skill as it is your muscles contracting.
Right.
In other words, you
want
could
it to
have
translate.
you could have muscles that contract way harder than another guy. Like we could test your individual muscles and they're bigger and they can generate more force. But that guy practices a particular movement and has a skill right and you don't. Then you go do the movement and suddenly they can lift more than you.
Yeah.
Why? Because strength is also a skill. Not practicing hip hinging, which you're going to do in your life all the time, is
a missed opportunity.
Yeah, missed opportunity. Nordic curl. Like, have you guys ever done a Nordic curl in real life? I've never in my life had to pick myself up.
Hold
that
on
way.
a second.
Yeah, that's never happened. Okay. Glutes, here's where we might get a little controversy, the hip thrust. Hip thrust, you get 70 to 80% muscle activation of the glutes
Yeah.
compared to 52% that you'll get with, let's say, a squat. Because the argument's always what grows the glutes more, squats or hip thrusts. Now, here's what's funny. I have studies that compare muscle growth, okay? And this is exactly what we're talking about. When you look at the studies on growth, guess what? They're both pretty damn close.
Yeah.
In fact,
It's pretty
the
close.
studies suggest that the squat might be a little tiny bit better at growing the glutes than the hip thrust. So yet the hip thrust in the EMG study is at 70 to 80% activation where the squat's only 52%. So if you base it off that, you would think you would see a big difference in hypertrophy. The studies that actually measure the end result, which is growth, actually show no difference.
And I think the case that you're trying to make here, because I don't think anyone here is trying to make the case that like you don't need hip thrusts or hip thrusts aren't good. It's just
No.
that I think that squats. This is another check mark in the category of squats are better for this reason. The last 3 quads, hamstrings, and glutes you get from squatting, and if you get really proficient at that, the carryover into all those gets greater
right.
too. And so, what as a trainer programming for someone doesn't mean I'm never going to do hip thrusts. It means I'm primarily going to get really good at the squat with my client, and every once in a while we might do some hip thrusts because it does have great benefits to it.
It'll accompany it.
But I'm going to get really good at back because, in fact, your point with the back squats, even for quads, it's so good. It's like this would be an example of where maybe they front squat a little bit because I still want them squatting for that. But then for glutes, we're going to make sure we back squat, and so they're getting lots of squatting, and lots of squatting is going to make them really good at squatting. Getting them really good at squatting is going to make them strong in all those areas.
Right. Now, again, another wrench in this whole conversation. There are people where hip thrusts are going to be superior for glutes. And these are people that have trouble connecting to the glutes when they squat.
Yep.
Now, so this is where I think EMG studies are excellent. If you're that person that has trouble connecting to a muscle in conventional, well-regarded exercises that you're supposed to do for that body part, like if you're that person that's like, man, I squat and I never feel it in my glutes, my quads get a pump, I'm building my quads, my glutes don't seem to be growing at all, it's because of your technique and how the squat is activating your body. These are the people that hip thrusts are going to be amazing for.
For sure.
And this is why hip thrusts on social media get so much love, because the type of person, the bias of the person that discovers the hip thrust and then raves about it is typically the person that just didn't get good activation from a squat. And so that person discovers a hip thrust, is like, there's my glutes, This is what I couldn't feel
Right.
before.
Which, by the way, which causes these people to be, die on that hill. Because
That's right.
they're like,
way better than
yeah,
squats.
I was squatting my whole life and I never built my butt. All of a sudden I started hip thrusting and now I've built a butt. So.
And again, there's general categories of great exercises. I think they're all good when you look at those general categories that are agreed upon. And then you have your individual variants where like, man, I know you said that you feel this exercise more, but I feel this one more. Well, you probably are. It's probably better for you then. So listen to your body when it comes to that. Yep. Next up, this was an interesting one for biceps, concentration curl. Interesting. I would not place a concentration curl in the top 5 of big bicep building exercises.
Yeah.
I just wouldn't. I think it's the load. You're just not going to lift as much as you would with a traditional standing curl or a barbell curl.
Barbell curl, yeah.
Concentration curls are good, but it doesn't typically make the top, 4 or 5 for best bicep exercise. That being said, we're talking about the biceps, so almost any bicep exercise is okay. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, I'm surprised that the reverse grip pull up did not get.
I don't think they tested it.
Oh, they didn't even test it probably.
How many people do a reverse grip pull up with emphasis on the bicep? Like besides arm wrestlers, nobody really does
that would be a
really
cool
does it.
EMG study thing because
I think it would crush.
Yeah, I think so too. Just in that stretch position like that and actually curling the body weight up. I mean, to me, it's like if Nordic curls wins for hamstrings, I would think that would win for biceps.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you got to go to that level.
We got to get it more popular before it gets tested that way.
Yeah.
The other reason why I think concentration curl probably measured high, the bicep does flex the elbow, but a lot of people don't realize this because one of the heads of the bicep goes over the humerus or the top of the arm. It also brings your arm up a little bit.
Your elbow.
When I'm in that concentrated curl position, I'm often having to activate the bicep in 2 different directions, which you don't get a lot of sometimes in other exercises.
Okay, I'm going to speak upon the athletic side of the fence here. Like, show me, like, what is the concentration curl exactly?
Yeah, like for sports.
No, just like what position is your arm in?
This is either bent over or on your arm.
Because is it like the one that's coming in like this?
Yeah.
Get out of here.
The Arnold curl. Yeah.
You know how much I love it when Justin doesn't know a bodybuilding exercise.
Like I would even say preacher curl over that.
Yeah.
Like, this is a silly one.
By the way, here's what the study shows: 90% activation versus a preacher curl, which is 86%. 4%. Probably nothing. Yeah. Especially when you consider.
Well, and then when you add in what you guys said earlier about load and stuff like that too, so you're talking about a major difference.
Totally.
Yeah.
All right, for triceps, dips. Dips outperform skull crushers and push downs by 5 to 10%. I'm not going to argue with that.
I'm definitely not.
I love dips.
I love dips.
And they're functional.
Push downs though and overextensions wouldn't even come second and third for me.
Yeah, close grip push-ups,
close grip bench press.
That would
be my 1 and 2 dips and close grip bench press for building the triceps. I think, or the king of the movements, or king and queen of movements for the tricep for sure.
And then for abs, we have hanging leg raises. Not going to argue this. If you can perform, this is the asterisk.
Under like perfect form.
Yeah, here's the caveat, right? If you can perform hanging leg raises properly, meaning you're hanging either by your hands or by your elbows, and when you bring your legs up, what's bringing your legs up is pelvic tilt. It's not. It's not flexing or at the hips. It's actually your pelvis rotating and bringing
it up.
Then this it's hard to beat a hanging leg raise. Yeah. That being said, and this is, listen,
I still like decline sit-ups.
100% true. I'm going to say this right now, 100% true. I almost never see anybody perform, even guys and girls that are fit and jacked, almost never seeing people perform a hanging leg raise.
Very rare.
Well, you can do, like Justin said, the decline reverse crunches.
Love that.
That's one of my favorites.
And boy, make that really difficult. And before you even get to this is such a progression to that most people that are doing hanging leg raises have no business doing hanging leg raises yet. They don't need to. There's a better movement for you to learn and get good and strong at. And then if you are somebody who can do decline reverse sit-ups and you can do those with a steep incline and it's easy and you can do high reps, okay, hanging leg raises, let's go. But I never had any clients that got to that level where we needed to do that. No. Like just doing that on the decline and slowing it down and emphasizing curling all the way up and then resisting on the way down.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah.
Very difficult exercise. But if you could do it like the Nordic curl, like great exercise. Just most people can't do it properly. Anyway.